Hello and welcome back to my channel. I've been crocheting for about 5 months now, and ever since I started posting my crochet on TikTok and Instagram, I always get comments from people asking how to start crocheting, how I learned how to crochet. I personally taught myself how to crochet just by looking up tutorials on YouTube and TikTok and trying to follow along to the best of my ability until I just kind of figured it out eventually. But obviously that's not the only way to learn how to crochet, so today we're going to be testing out a different method of learning how to crochet. Today we're going to be testing out the Woobles, which is a crochet kit designed for beginners that apparently comes with everything that you need to make these little amigurumi stuffed crochet animals. I did get sent this from TikTok shop as like a free sample or whatever, and I just figured I would make a YouTube video about it as well. So I did get this for free, just to be fully transparent, but this video isn't sponsored. I was sent the narwhal, whose name is Bjorn, apparently. I don't know if they all have names. I'm assuming they do, which is kind of cute. I have seen these in Joann's, and I believe that they make different experience levels. There are ones for like beginner to intermediate and maybe like advanced. I'm not entirely sure, but this one says for beginners, and on the bottom it says 12 plus, so hopefully I won't have a problem making this. Also, along with the review, I thought I would do like a price breakdown of the price of the Woobles crochet kit versus how much it would be to buy all of the materials separately. Because I know when I first saw them in Joann's, I did initially think that they were like a little pricey compared to just like buying yarn and stuff. So we'll do like a price breakdown of how much it is for this versus how much it would be to buy everything separately and see if it's worth it to just buy the kit if you're wanting to try out crochet. It says on the back, time to complete 3 to 8 hours. So I'll also try and time myself and see how long it takes me as an advanced beginner, I guess, to make this little narwhal guy. All right, I think that's it. Let's go ahead and get started, do a little unboxing, and then we will start crocheting. So like I said, the kit comes with everything that you need to make the Wooble, everything that you need to get started. So the first thing we have is the yarn, which is a really interesting texture. It's not like plush yarn that I usually use to make amigurumi or that I've seen other people use. It's kind of like a t-shirt style yarn. Like, I think it's cotton. It doesn't really say, but it's definitely like a unique texture that I've never really worked with before, so that'll be interesting. So here are the 3 colors. There's blue, white, and yellow for our little narwhal friend. And then we have the stuffing. It's the little bag of stuffing. We have this little envelope which says the wee woobly bitch, which I'm assuming is like the eyes and the sewing needle, as well as instructions. And the last thing in the bag is the crochet hook. So inside here we have this string, which I'm not entirely sure what it's for. There's just a little bit of black yarn, but it doesn't seem to have any black on him, so I'm not entirely sure what that's for yet, but we'll find out. We have his little card that says Meet Bjorn, and then on the back is where you can find the instructions with the little video and everything to figure out how to crochet him. And then in here as well are the safety eyes and sewing needle, darning needle, whatever this thing's called. And the needle is metal, which I'm very excited about because I've tried plastic needles for sewing amigurumi together and they are just not it. They bend way too easily, and it's super frustrating to use. So I'm glad that they didn't skimp on the needle and gave us a metal one. And then inside our main yarn is our pre-started piece. It has 3 stitch markers on it, and the loop is right there, so you can go ahead and put your hook in there and just get started. All right, I think that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the tutorial video on my phone and get started. Okay, I pulled up the videos. It looks like there's multiple videos that are all split up into sections, and they literally teach you the very, very basics. There's a video for how to hold your yarn and hook, how to do a single crochet, how to increase, how to move your stitch marker. Like, if you've never picked up a crochet hook in your entire life, you've never even heard of crochet, you could probably pick up one of these and follow the tutorials and make it. Since I do already know how to crochet, I feel like I don't need to watch the videos on holding my hook and stuff. I already know how to do that, so I'm just gonna skip through those ones and pick up wherever this piece left off. Okay, so you're watching the videos to try and figure out where I needed to start at, but I've already encountered a problem, and that is that this is not, it's not tightening around my hook. Like, this is the part that it came with that was started, right? And you're supposed to put your hook in there, and I would assume just start crocheting, but this seems to be like knotted, right? Like, because this part would be the part that you hold, like this, so it should tighten around the hook, but it's not doing that, and I can't, like, it seems to be knotted. So I'm just gonna keep watching the tutorial and see if it explains that I'm supposed to, like, do something else with it, or what the problem is. I don't know if it came, like, kind of knotted so that it didn't come undone during, like, the shipping or whatever. I don't know, maybe I messed it up somehow, but, like, that's how it came. It just doesn't seem right. Like, something just doesn't seem right. I don't know. Yeah, it's just like that. I'm just gonna start, I guess, and that's just gonna have to be how it is, because I've tried pulling on it and I feel like I'm just making it worse. Okay, I finished the first round. Well, technically the second round, but they did the first round for you. So the first round that you actually do yourself. Thoughts so far? I do think those videos are very beginner friendly, but they are extremely slow. They do take you through every single step and every single stitch, so far at least. I don't know if it changes the further that you get into it. But for me personally, if you're somebody who kind of already knows how to crochet, it's going to feel like a snail's pace for you, and you're gonna be like, let's go, let's get it going. But I guess that's good if you're, like, literally a beginner who has never touched a crochet hook before. I think it's very helpful for you to see exactly, you know, where the stitches are and everything, and exactly what you're supposed to be doing. Personally, I don't know how I feel about this texture of yarn. I do think that it is really easy to see your stitches with this texture of yarn, but I don't know how I feel about it for amigurumi necessarily. But it tells you to yarn over instead of yarning under, which does leave bigger holes in general, but especially with this type of yarn, like, you can see how big the holes are. I don't know, I'm following the video exactly how it says, so I'm not gonna yarn under, even though that's what I would normally do. I will follow exactly what it says. So those are just my thoughts so far. I'm going to continue working on this, and I will check back in once I've gotten a little bit further. So it's been about 45 minutes. This is where we're at so far. I'm getting ready to do the first color change to the white part for his, like, belly or whatever. This is where we're at. After you get past the first, like, 2 rounds, I think, the video does start including, like, written pattern instructions so that you don't have to watch the entire video. I think it teaches you how to read a pattern as well, so it includes that. So I've just been reading the written pattern instead of watching the video, just because I don't have time for that. Like, I just want to keep crocheting, and I know how to read a pattern. So that's good for people who maybe are a little bit more advanced, but they do still include, like, the video tutorial for beginners who may not be comfortable reading a pattern yet. It does feel like I'm crocheting a little bit slower than what I normally would with, like, acrylic yarn or cotton yarn or something that I'm, like, more used to. It might just be that I'm not used to it, but I don't know how I feel about this, like, t-shirt style of yarn. It just feels like I'm not able to, like, pull through the loops like I normally would. Like, I'm having to do my single crochet and pull through one loop and then pull through the second loop instead of just being able to do it all in one motion. That could be user error just because I'm not used to this type of yarn. I don't know, but it does feel like I'm moving a little bit slower than what I would be if I was using some other type of yarn. But other than that, I don't really have a whole lot of complaints. The crochet hook is pretty comfortable. I haven't had any problems with it, really. Another thing about these yarn is you don't have to really worry about it splitting because it's just like one solid piece, which I think is good for beginners, because when I first started crocheting, I had a lot of, like, trouble with the yarn splitting on me and, like, messing up that way. So with this, you don't have to worry about that, and the stitches are super easy to see. So I see how that can be really beneficial for someone who is just starting to learn how to crochet. All right, I'm gonna keep working on this, and I will check back in with you like once I've finished the body, I guess. All right, here's where we're at. I'm getting ready to add the safety eyes, and I figured out what this is for. You can also embroider the eyes on if you don't want to use the safety eyes. So they did provide some black yarn if you want to embroider them, if you're gonna give it to like a kid or a pet or something, because the safety eyes are not actually that safe. So that's what the black is for, but I'm just gonna use the safety eyes because I'm just gonna have it probably sitting on my desk.
Tap the string needle off and pick up your scissors again. You're gonna cut the yarn as close to the surface of your piece as possible. Take care not to actually cut the surface of your piece. Then, if you have any remaining pieces of yarn visible there, just gonna massage your piece until it disappears on the inside.
Alright, I just finished the body. I closed up the hole and everything. He looks alright. He looks pretty good. The bottom is pretty holey, not gonna lie. I think it's just the type of yarn that's being used, and the fact maybe that I was yarning over and not yarning under, I don't know. But it is, you know, you can see the stuffing through the stitches down there. Other than that, he's looking pretty good. I'm gonna go make his fins, his tail, and his little horn, and then we will put them all together. All right, I have made the two fins and his horn. All we have left to make, I believe, is just the tail, and then sewing everything together, and then I think our narwhal will be all done. So I'm gonna go make the tail really quick. I will meet you back here to sew everything together and give you my final thoughts. All right, I have completed my Wooble. Here he is. His tail's a little crooked. Don't look at that. I'm not really great at sewing things on straight. In total, he took me about 2 hours to make. The packaging said 3 to 12 hours, so not to toot my own horn or anything, but I got them done faster. As far as like the instructions and stuff go, the videos and everything, they were pretty good. I like that they had like a written pattern as well as the video instructions, because I didn't want to actually watch the video because I know how to read a written pattern and I wanted to get it done faster than what the video was going. And then I did do a little math. I'm not great at math, but I did it for you. I went on the Joann's website and found the closest comparable thing to everything that's included in the Woobles kit. The hardest thing was the yarn, just because I don't know exactly what type of yarn this is, but I went with the Big Twist polyester just because it looked the most similar to what comes in the Woobles kit. So if you were to go to Joann's and buy everything that you would need individually to make a little narwhal, you would need 3 different colors of yarn, which are $8.99 each, so $26.97 for the yarn. For the hook, $3.59 for a 4mm hook. A darning needle is $1.83. For the stuffing, I found like a 2-ounce thing, which I feel like is probably similar to the amount that is in here, for $1.79. The safety eyes, you can get a pack of like 5 or something for $2.23, and that's everything that you would need, bringing your total for everything to $36.50 if you were to go to Joann's and individually buy everything that comes in the Woobles kit. Now obviously you can't go to Joann's and buy the actual crochet pattern that's used to make this, but there are plenty of free patterns out on the interwebs, on YouTube, TikTok, Google in general, that you can find. So I'm not going to account for any money for the pattern, because 9 times out of 10, for pretty much anything that you're making, you can find a free written or video pattern somewhere out there. To buy the Woobles kit, they're all approximately the same price. I think the like licensed character ones are maybe a little bit more expensive, but for this one, exactly, on the Woobles website, it is $30 before shipping. I went ahead and put in my address as if I was going to order it just to see how much it would be after shipping, and after taxes and shipping, for one Woobles kit, it is $39.50. Obviously, there's a convenience factor for getting a kit that includes exactly everything that you need to make this. And I think it would be good for a kid or someone who isn't sure that they want to crochet and they don't want to go buy a bunch of stuff and then have a bunch of extras laying around if they end up not liking it. With this kit, there is just a little bit of leftover yarn, maybe enough to make another Wooble of the same variety, but that's about it. This is all that's left over from the yarn. There's one safety eye that was extra left over, and then this black yarn, and that is pretty much all that is left. So for someone who just wants to kind of try it out and doesn't want to have a bunch of extra yarn if they end up not liking it, I can see why this might be of interest. I also understand it for like the collectability factor because they all kind of have names and they have these little cards that come with them. So if you're like a collector or something, it might be fun to get them and make them and then have, you know, a little shelf with all of your little Woobles and their little name cards and stuff. That could be cute as well. I do think that the type of yarn is really beginner friendly. It's super easy to see the stitches. The yarn doesn't split or anything. The videos are very beginner friendly. It takes everything very slow. It teaches you literally everything that you need to know to be able to start crocheting. Alright, that's all I've got for you. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed already, what are you doing? And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye!